You're listening to Were You Still Talking? Okay, let me just throw this out there. Hey, welcome back. This is Were You Still Talking? This is Joel Albrecht, and around the studio, in the world today, I have Chuck McGee III, known as... I'm sorry.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Thank you. Known as Iced Viking of Iced Viking Breathworks. He is just an amazing force of nature in the world. I've done a couple of his free to everyone breathwork sessions on Instagram. He is a type 1 diabetic, a traumatic brain injury survivor, a breathwork instructor, an ACT practitioner, husband, father, and an iced Viking. His mission is to show how to step into the pilot seat of your life through instantly usable techniques that are easily accessible and always at your disposal. And yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. I'm going to find out what it is. Welcome in. Welcome.
There's really not a lot more to it than that. And that's stemming from the traumatic brain injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Like the traditional treatment is cognitive tools for a cognitive injury. Right. And if I could remember what you told me to do, might be helpful. But I couldn't. I would forget in those moments of high emotion what tools they told me I was supposed to use. And then I'd get even angrier. And to that end, I actually prefer the English term or British, because I know people are going to be nitpicky because you did use English. I like acquired brain injury. It makes it sound so much fancier.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not a traumatic brain injury. It's an acquired brain injury. I went off to the store, picked one up, and here I am. It's fantastic. I've acquired one. I've actually acquired 24. I thought they were so fancy. But simple is not easy. The tools are simple, but it's not always easy to remember to use them. One of my favorite quotes is, "Please don't try to learn how to fight while in one."
So that's a really good quote.
Yeah, well, that's being at the bar, like you'd hear some drunk utter some amazing wisdom and you're like, everything else you said was garbage, but I am totally keeping that.
That's a good one. But man, fights in bars are weird. I played in music for a long, long time. And there was one country bar we played in Canada, which you would think would be a peaceful place, where fights just broke out like all the time, just randomly. Mm-hmm. It's bizarre.
And so the goal is to learn how to use the tools when you don't need them. Practice using them so that when you do need them, you're familiar with how they work and function with your body. I like to use a theater analogy. It's one of my favorite games, and I've learned it when I was 12. And you and I can have two lines to say to each other. And it's, "Good morning, Joel." "Good morning, Chuck. How are you?" "I'm fine." We each have two of those lines. Now, if we drank a lot of whiskey the night before, it's good morning, Joel. Good morning, Chuck. How are you?" "Fine." Much different than if we slept well. "Good morning, Joel." "Good morning, Chuck. How you doing?" "Fine." Same words, totally different context. So if we realize that a breathwork session is the same words, but every day you'll have to face a different context. Did you sleep well? How was your nutrition? Are you hydrated? Are you stressed about something coming up? You'll have a different result almost every single time. And our brain wants routine, our brain wants repetition, and that's not something that necessarily I can say breathwork can give you. Is that routine or repetition? I can give you some tools that move the levers and gears of your body, and most of the time it will have the effect you want. Some of the time it's just going to piss you off, and then here we are.
That's great. I mean, it's very much, I've heard meditation described in very much the same way. It's why they call it a meditation practice, because, it's always going to work, but how much are you going to let it work? How much of it are you going to let in that day, depending on all those factors? Exactly. And that is, by the way, one of my favorite. I started acting when I was 14 or so in theater. And that's one of my favorite acting exercises. So many of them I really don't like, but I like that one a lot.
That probably is why I use it
Yeah.
as a reference, because it's one of my favorites. The other one that I wish I understood when my teacher told me it, because I didn't really understand it and start applying it until 18 years after I heard it, is every emotion has its own breath.
Oh,
And
that's really interesting. And I sometimes I notice that actors, especially TV actors, are using only that to convey their emotion. And I
Mhm.
mean, it works for most people unless you've acted and you see, oh, you're just breathing hard to make yourself look scared.
I mean, there's definitely levels of skill to have it applied. But if every emotion has its own breath and we can emulate that on stage, it literally took me almost 2 decades to realize that that has off-stage applications. Like, how am I breathing? What emotion is it telling my body to feel that my mind is just missing out on? Am I tight? Am I hunched over? This is one of my favorite questions to ask people. If you saw me sitting like this, what type of day do you think I'm having?
Not a good one. Not a too good one. For those just listening, he's kind of slouched over in his chair.
Yeah, I'm slouched over in my chair, but I'm going to normalize this position, and I'm holding my cell phone now. I'm in that slouched position looking at my cell phone, and that's normal. So without even realizing it, people are telling their body something is wrong. They're putting all sorts of weird pressure on their lower back, on their neck, on their jaw. They can't take a proper breath. And I bet they're just looking at completely wholesome, non-terrifying things on their phone.
That's all
so they
that's
don't.
there. What else?
Yeah.
It's got to be that.
So your mind is it doesn't even have a chance to take a swing at what's going on because your physiology is telling it something is wrong.
Right.
And if you're mouth breathing is basically, we need to be heightened. So all day you whisper stress and anxiety. So for those of you out there who are like, I'm supposed to breathe in nose, out mouth. It's in nose, out nose. Sitting tall. You cannot take a proper breath if you're not in proper posture. And if you're sitting down, that's feet flat on the floor, knees at 90 degrees, hips at 90 degrees, elbows at 90 degrees, eyes parallel with the floor. And for all of you checking in, good job. If you're standing, it's ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels, eyes parallel with the ground yet again. And if you want to get into that position easy, just take 2 steps back, 2 or 3, and you'll be in proper posture.
Oh, that's great. And that's also one of the most basic yoga poses. I think it's mountain pose where you're just standing there as tall as you can, everything and Pilates, same thing. Yeah, same idea. It really, just stand there in the morning when you're having your coffee, put your shoulders back. The Superman pose is another good one. You stand there with your hands on your hips. You will naturally stand up straighter, right?
I think
it's hard not
Dr.
to.
Dr. Cuddy, Cuddy, calls that her power pose. And she encourages women in business to stand like that in that Superman pose. And I love her work. And it's proper posture with hands on hips. It literally tells the room, with everyone slouching nowadays. Look around, everyone's slouching. They've got their head moved forward because they're looking at the phone or they're on their computer all day. The person who's standing tall is who we are unconsciously going to look at when things go sideways. So it's interesting. I hear all these people being like, how do I be the most powerful person in the room? I'm like, well, posture, slow breath, that aggression you're kind of broadcasting is not it.
No, right, not at all. Yeah, and if you just practice the breath work long enough, breath work, meditation, brain work, you will eventually be the most powerful. Because a lot of the people that I watch on YouTube a lot are very quiet. Like what they do is very quiet, but when they're in the room, they're definitely the most powerful person in there.
And power's subjective.
Yes.
I am not a nuclear physicist. Should I go amongst a group of nuclear physicists who are not interested in breath work? There's nothing I can do that's going to put me in their eyes at the top power spot. So it's know your audience as well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
like, and one of the things I hear people say is, well, you should work on your weaknesses. No, I want to amplify my strengths, because if I spend years working on my weakness, chances are I've moved into mediocre, and
Yeah,
I'm
why
still
would I
mediocre.
agree with you 100% there. Why would you want to work on your weaknesses? Why don't amplify your strengths? That's
Right.
yeah.
And I mean, if your weakness
Yeah.
is I get super irritated and emotional, okay, maybe work on that one. But why are we why are we being fed this BS that it's like, just, become mediocre and well-rounded? Well, there's something that you're probably pretty fantastic at. Let's get even more fantastic at that and see where that goes. Why work on these things? I mean, it's truly work, because one, you're going to be miserable. And I mean, if you're not very good at breath work, this is one of the few exceptions. I would say if your weakness is your breath, it is a foundational skill, and it is something I would say you should probably spend time getting better at. But like, I don't like speaking in front of groups. Maybe not something you have to practice if it's not something you have to do.
This is true. And yeah, and nowadays you can speak in front of groups just by going on Zoom and staring into a phone or something. You you don't even have to stand in front of a group anymore. Yeah, I'm actually
Where's the fun in that?
where's the fun? It's none, none. I
I
always prefer to do these live if I can, but I'm a long ways from everyone. No one's out here. So we were talking about before we came on, we were talking a little bit about the redwoods and how
Mm.
I love the air in the redwoods, and you did not have the same experience living in
Well,
Humboldt County.
I love the air. It just does not love me back. Because Humboldt County is a temperate rainforest, because of its proliferation of redwoods and forests and beautiful areas, fog, it's really moldy. Like, even in the winter, with 2 dehumidifiers running, pulling 5 gallons of water out of my house every day, the
Wow.
walls were still wet.
Whoa.
And we'd have windows open, but with the windows open being foggy outside, it is a self-defeating thing. There's no way we're going to dehumidify Humboldt County. Um, I mean,
No.
we would have to rotate our bed every 2 weeks. We have to rotate stuff in our closet every 2 weeks. Otherwise, it really starts to mold. And if that stuff starts to mold, it's in your lungs, it's in your house, it's everywhere. And their best guess as to why I'm a type 1 diabetic is a sensitivity to the mold I've been exposed to since I was a little kid. And I feel really, really lucky, because some of my friends who have illnesses that they're like autoimmune mystery illnesses, they're
Mhm.
the doctors are like, we think it's mold. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure, but we think it's mold. Iceland is nailing the research on mold exposure because they have a lot of issues right now. So Iceland is actually leading the way in pulling mold out of your body and helping people recover as much as they can from mold exposure. All it took is one of their top doctors getting sick for them to go, oh, that's not something we want to allow to happen anymore.
Wow, that's interesting.
And so with that happening, they're like, you've got to move. You can't be here anymore. It's only going to get worse. And I've got friends who have IBS, Crohn's, lupus, all of these just scary autoimmune illnesses. And their best guess, because they were healthy, is your body got overexposed to mold over time. And then this happened. Your autoimmune system flipped out, and now you've got an autoimmune illness. So out of all of the illnesses, the eat right and get healthy one, I really feel lucky. We've got friends who are blind. We've got friends who are deaf
Mhm.
because it just attacked their body in a different way.
Oh, wow. Wow. So
So,
so would the same thing happen in a warmer, humid climate like Hawaii? You ever spend any time over there?
so the reason my doctor was able to have this hypothesis is he was doing his residency in Florida. And of course, hurricane comes through. They needed to clean the dorms at one of the universities. He wouldn't tell me which one because he had to sign an NDA. And
Jeez.
one of the floors wasn't cleaned as well as it should have been. And for whatever reason, I think he said about half of the students on that floor became diabetics within a few months because of just how much mold was in their dorm rooms that they were breathing in and overstimulated their body. Their body had an autoimmune response and it attacked their pancreas. And he's like, I think that happened to you. And the reason it took so much longer for me instead of them is because it's cooler in Humboldt, and the mold that's there, if it's a warm day, it's growing faster because it's warm and wet. It wants that warmer temperature. And there it's a little colder. As you know, living in the Pacific Northwest, heat's not a thing we really ever have to worry about, or had to worry about.
But yeah.
They think in some of the hotter climates, it's actually a little more like it can hit you harder if it has a chance to grow and sit. But I don't know. It comes down to like building materials, how often it's clean. Did you get every little tiny spot? And like in the dorms, they're usually not there long enough to be in that unhealthy space for it to have a negative effect.
Mm-hmm.
So, and native building materials are the key, because the old Victorian homes in Humboldt County that were built with redwood don't have this issue. But you get the particle board and the fiber boards and stuff that just when they get wet start to hold that moisture. That's where we're seeing issues with people getting really sick.
Oh, that completely makes sense to me. They also probably didn't build everything wet in those days. I mean, they build with wet lumber now. I don't think they did that 100 years ago.
No, they dried everything out because they had the time.
Yeah, they had the time, exactly. They weren't trying to build so fast. And they had 2x4s that were 2x4 and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and if you look at modern lumber versus old lumber, modern lumber has like big gaps between the rings in the wood. Old lumber's real tight.
Oh,
a little more durable.
Right.
So
old lumber it's literally heavier. I mean, it's the same in the Northwest. It's the same trees, but they're not 1,000 years old anymore because obviously they can't grow that long. So big difference. And how did you get started with what some of us consider the what is the word? Well, cold plunges and things that lots of people have a hard time wrapping their head around. Jumping into cold things.
Well,
was that early training? Was that later after you started breath work? Where did that start?
Same time. So I was told by an author friend of mine that I have to start the story with this hook, and this is the story of how cocaine changed my life. And thankfully, as a bartender, I wasn't the one who had to do the cocaine. Thankfully, my customers were generous enough to do it for me. One customers came in one night, very much so not allowed to be served. He was still wearing some of the powder he had been partaking in. And I was like, you got to go home. I can't serve you. And he goes, I'll go home if you look up the Wim Hof Method. And he starts to like slap the bar. And I was like, I promised I will look up the Wim Hof Method when I go home. And I watched the Vice documentary, Becoming the Iceman. And in that, Wim guides one of the Vice producers through breathwork. And I was like, free session, let's go. Because in theater, I've been doing theater at this point for 24 years. I am aware of what the breath can do for the body. I don't have a practice because that's only for the stage. I hadn't realized I can use it while I'm not in a theater. I can use it many, many other places. That's a lateral skill. I learned about that even later, that you have skills in one spot of your life that are amazing, that you can use everywhere else, and you don't because that's the only place you think you can use it. And
that is really interesting. That's a really good point. Especially with theater. Interesting.
I guarantee you everyone has a skill that they use in one place, that should be being applied everywhere in your life, but your brain says, if it's not here, I don't use it. And your brain's a dirty liar. So you can use it in many other places. Like, that's why I said it took me 2 decades to realize, oh, every emotion has a breath. Oh, you meant like everywhere, not just on stage. You meant everywhere.
Every emotion, all of them.
Okay. Shit, I missed that nuance of what you had said. So I do the breath work and I feel amazing. And everyone said, like, would you sleep like a baby? No, I've had 3 kids and I did not wake up every 2 hours pissed off and hungry. I slept like the dead. And I wake up in the morning and I tell my wife, I was like, this is really cool. I tried this thing out called the Wim Hof Method. The course is on sale. It's the old school 10-week course. This is back in 2015. It just come out. I bought it for $100. Best $100 I've ever spent in my entire life. And in it, he says, you should take a cold shower. No, it's like, no. It sounds like a whole bunch of this sucks. And then I see someone, a gentleman named Casper Vandermeulen. I hadn't met him yet, and I've been taking ice baths. I've been clenching my fist. I've been clenching my jaw, just powering through it. It's awful. It was unfun. I was not doing it right. You're supposed to relax in the ice bath, slow your breath down, and I was doing the typical male thing of, I've got this. And
that's how I would do it. Yes.
So I go to this training, and the only reason I stumble into this training beyond a customer on cocaine is I asked my boss for a raise, and he goes, no. And he wasn't very nice about it. He said other things. And I looked at a busy weekend and went, hey, I can meet Wim Hof. And I show up and they're like, welcome to instructor training.
Wow. Nice.
What? Do you know we have a wait list? You were like the 3rd person to sign up. You signed up at 3 a.m. I'm like, that's not as weird as you think. Like, that's why I just gotten home from work.
Because my customers were on cocaine.
Yeah, like they're all done. I was done. And so I signed up for it. And that's when I walk up to Wim and I go, you know what, man? Thank you. You saved my life. Wim looks at me and goes, hey, I don't know who the fuck you are. I just met you today. If any information I put out there helped you out, I'm really glad it helped you out. But you have to realize you walk the path. It's not about me. Is that what you teach your instructors? He goes, the smart ones. It's not about you. You're just a vehicle for information. And I walked right up and said, I am in. I'm in. I'd love to do this. And as with all of the amazing things in my life, I just quite literally stumbled, fell, and luckily found it.
Or it found you, maybe.
Maybe. And I was on blood pressure medication. I was on more insulin. I still haven't reached 10 years later, I still haven't reached the level of insulin I was on before I started this.
That's great.
And I'm not taking as many pain pills. Well, I am currently, because I had shoulder surgery 3 weeks ago, and breathwork and ice bath can help, but sometimes you need a little extra assistance.
Yeah. Yep. What's good is that you know that will ease. I've had chronic pain for a long time, and I've been working on that and with some mental things. And what's that? That's normal pain. You know that'll go away.
Yeah. Well, I call it the hopeful hurt. Because I'm hurting, but I'm hopeful it'll go away. As with diabetes and 24 concussions, 4 car accidents, 2 motorcycle accidents, and triple-digit drunken confrontations. I was not drunk. The other person was, because when you're like, excuse me, you have to leave. You're being rude. For whatever reason, they're not thinking clearly and being like, I see your point. Valid, logical reason. Have a wonderful day. That's never happened in the history of me bartending.
Whoa. 24 concussions?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And was that all from bartending? Did you also play football?
Most of them.
Box, MMA?
Bartending was boxing and MMA. It was 16 years. Yeah. So in 16 years, to have about 20 concussions is 1 or 2 a year. And there's going to be people out there, oh, you got your ass kicked. Yeah, I got punched in the head a couple times because it's called a sucker punch for a reason. You don't see it coming. Um, yeah, hit in the head butted. That was no fun. Um, like, and once it happens, yeah, you have to deal with it. Um, but the worst one was in 2018. Thankfully, it was the last concussion I had. Um, I was turning into my driveway and the car behind me was on his cell phone. He was in a big Chevy Silverado. He hit me so hard he broke my seat.
Oh,
And
ouch.
I hit my head. I had a speaker in back. Out of all the people who have just been working with, I was working with some of the top brain injury and concussion doctors in the world. And I was on my way home from that retreat. And I did not
Wow.
realize I would be calling them so soon. And I was thrust into an amazing support group. I think professional athletes would be jealous at the support I had for my concussions. And it took 3 years for me to feel somewhat normal again. It took a long, long time. For 3 months after that injury, I was unconscious for 90 seconds. I forgot I was a breathwork instructor. I didn't
Wow.
remember any of
Wow.
that. I was super I still twitch if I get overstimulated. And like they basically said at this point, if I hit my head really hard again, it could be very bad. And I'm like, I twitch currently. What's worse, you'll forget English. That's the only language I know. I know, isn't that scary? So, the drunk people, I was addicted to that violence and adrenaline. I
Ah, okay,
truly
sure.
enjoyed the fact that if someone swung at me and hit me, I was allowed to retaliate. And I got addicted to the cathartic release of violence. That adrenaline, that everything slows down, that if these 3 guys succeed in tackling me, they're not going to stop kicking me if I lose consciousness. That's a rush that I'm not even going to say I regret feeling it because I don't, and I didn't at the time. It was one of the best ways for me to be like, I need to blow off some steam. And if someone wants to start something tonight, okay. And that's not the right attitude. Thankfully, I didn't have that most days, but there were days I did not, what's the word I'm looking for? De-escalate a situation as effectively as I could. And now I look back on that and there's probably healthier ways to deal with that stuff. But
Gosh, I hope so. But are you sure do you like old westerns? Because that's what always happens there. Yeah.
in the group I was in the community I was in, we were supported to be aggressive. We were
Mhm.
supported, like if you see a guy grab a woman, I'm not going to try and reason with that person.
Right, right, right.
Like, and if I see someone sucker punch somebody, I'm not going to go, wait, maybe we should talk this out. Like we've moved past that point now. We are beyond us having a conversation about your behavior. Or we tell people, hey, it's time for you to leave. And they would say the dumbest words ever. Well, what are you going to do about it? Let me show you. Right?
That's never a good thing to say to someone in a bar asking you to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the results of that many times. It's yeah.
And even the best intentioned, well-trained person is gonna get hit. And unfortunately, my head took probably more hits than it should have.
Well, it's
And
like when you watch MMA competitions. There's nobody that doesn't get hit. There's
right.
nobody that good.
Yeah.
Their idea is
I'd
not to
love to
go in and
watch him.
get hit.
Yeah. I'd love to
Yeah,
watch him. Like as someone who was so good they never got hit, that would be an amazing dance to
that would be
watch.
something. Yeah. Well, Bruce Lee would be that good. Just ask anybody.
Of course. Of course. And so a lot of it, like, once I realized that my practicing breathwork, taking cold plunges could help de-escalate my own nervous system, I didn't realize because I was hypervigilant at the bar. I was always scanning for a threat. That was my job. I didn't realize my posture was aggravating that mindset. I didn't realize my breath was, again, aggravating that mindset. So I was stuck in this toxic loop that I thought was healthy. But I came home with a fat lip and someone had punched my face. And I said, my wife said, what happened? I said, it was a great night at work. And she says, you need to go look in the mirror and reassess what great is. That is not a great night at work. What happens if someone hits you hard enough? And I had 2 kids at this point. My third hadn't been born yet. What happens if you hit the concrete? You said you've watched people get sucker punched and bad things happen. Years of recovery, paralyzation. Is this what you want your kids to look up to?
Good for her.
Oh, she's the real guru. Yeah. Like, she's the mindset master. And thankfully, within a week or 2 of her saying that, here comes a customer high on cocaine talking about the Wim Hof Method. And it just, the door was open, the field was primed. And I'm one of like, I love the fact that I have ADHD because it allows me to hyperfixate on things. And I have been hyperfixating on breathwork for about 10 years now.
Wow. That is an advantage there. Absolutely. Yeah. And the part about going into the cold plunges with the idea that you're going to slow down your breath rather than just freaking out. I think that
was my wife.
Thing. Yeah.
She taught me how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
After I met Casper, who's like, you've got to breathe calm, unclench your jaw. And I was kind of, but there was a lot of people there. Casper, for the 20 seconds he was able to deliver a message, it did get through. And I get home and I'm training to be a Wim Hof instructor now. I think that actually means something. And my wife goes, can I take an ice bath too? And I'm still not out of the ego from the bar yet. And I go, oh, sure, go ahead. And I'm clenching my fists and I get out. She sits in the ice bath, takes a deep breath, and relaxes her whole body.
Oh, nice.
What did you just do? And she's like, it's like giving birth. Nope. What'd you do? And she said, I cannot do anything about this stimulus. It's cold and it's uncomfortable, but what I can do is relax my body, relax my breath. And I later learned that is a parasympathetic way to meet a sympathetic response. Don't learn how to fight when you're in a fight, but if you can practice going into that safe stressor of the cold and slow your breath down and relax your body. Annoying people in my life, I dub them the figurative ice bath. They stress me out. I feel it. I relax. I slow my breath down. Okay. And there's so many health benefits to the cold, and I don't care about any of them. I love the mental strength that it gives you to go into stress, find that relaxed state, and do it repeatedly, which is why I take ice baths or a cold shower every day, so that I can practice what I'm going to do when I meet stress. So that when I do meet stress, and I'd love to say, since breathwork and ice baths, my wife and I have never fought. I'm the best dad to my kids, and that would be a pile of shit and untrue. But I'd love to say that. I'd love to. But I'm human. I make mistakes. I have about this much more space now, and most of the time that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
But to slow it down, so I, over time, learned to take an ice bath her way, and it changes the whole thing. I'm not suddenly trying to endure it. This is literally how my wife taught me how to surrender, which is not something that is generally told to most men in Western society. The concept or idea of an intentional surrender to weather this experience. And what I love about the human mind, and for everybody listening, when I say ice bath, what are you thinking? Joel, are you thinking of yourself sitting in that cold ass water right now?
Pretty much, or standing over it and not getting in.
Right.
I
But
picture it.
finish the story.
Get in
You
there.
get out.
Oh, you get out. You
You
get
get
out.
out. And you feel
Yeah.
great when you get out. There's never been a time when I've sat in the ice bath and gone like, oh, this is fantastic.
I'm just gonna stay here. No, I'm just gonna stay here
This
all
is
day. This is good.
lovely,
We're
lovely. But
fine.
when I get out, I feel amazing. And that concept, that idea, most of the time, the human mind will focus on the worst part of a story, whether it's anxiety or panic or stress. Please finish the story because you get out and it stops. And you can get out at any point, but your brain paused on the worst part of the experience.
It's the same with staining my fence. I'm staining my fence right now, and all I can think about is how hard it is to freaking stain the fence. But I'm trying to concentrate on. It'll be great when I'm done. It'll be great. Also, what you were talking about with, I really don't care about all these other health benefits, but what you described is what creates all these other health benefits. That ability to change your brain, basically. You know, you're practicing changing how your brain works, and that's what results in all those other benefits, right?
Simple, but not easy.
Simple, but not easy. Yeah.
There are days when I mean, and when I say I take an ice bath or a cold shower, I hope you guys aren't thinking like it's the 2 or 3 minute one every single time. There's times when I get in a bucket of cold water, I cannot find that calm breath because it hits me every time. My goal is to relax, generally in and out through the nose, in 4, out 6, and find that calm breath. I can usually find that in under 10 seconds. But if I can't find that calm breath in a minute, I'm getting out now. I tried. And today I don't have the mental fortitude to find a calm breath in a stressful situation. And I'll let my wife know, we are not having deep emotional conversations today unless we really need to, because I'm not on point.
Oh, that's a great thing to know.
Yeah.
Going into your day, to be able to realize that and say, hey, let's not talk about whatever.
Let's not make big choices today. I mean, if you have to, you have to. But now there's the day I can sit in it and 3 minutes goes by and I'm like, oh, it's time to get out. Those days, let's talk about some stuff if we need to. I'm not saying like I walk in and I'm like, I'm ready to work on a relationship, dear. Like that's just no.
Does that happen in any relationship? I don't know many people.
Depending on how much LSD or mushrooms someone has taken. Like I've just microdosed and figured it all out, sweetie. Let me tell you what my brain maybe wait a day.
Let me explain what the little people said. It was
exactly. Or but that concept of surrender to the stress, don't endure, because that if everyone makes make fists, hold that tension tight in your fists, clench your teeth, and lean forward a little bit like you're in pain or you're stressed out. Try and take a breath. And it's really hard. You're constricted. But if you open your hands, open them, don't touch your teeth together, relax your jaw a little bit. With your hands open and your teeth apart, how much tension can you bring into your body?
A lot less.
A lot
less. So
in the ice bath, I have to unclench, relax the jaw, open the hands, so I can't bring in that stress. My daughter has realized that when I start to clench my fists when we're having a lively chat, that this chat is now probably over because I'm starting to lose my shit.
That's probably it. We're good, Dad. This is good.
We'll come back to this. You should go take an ice bath.
Oh, that's good. I love it when people answer questions before I ask them, because that was one of my big things, is how long, and I've heard this, it's just been a while, how long you stand in a cold shower or take an ice bath. And
it's temperature specific.
Okay.
If you're at like 32 to 34 degrees, 2 minutes, 3 minutes is where you need to go. Like nothing more than that. If you're above 40, 5 minutes is fine.
Okay.
Most tap water is like 55 degrees. And build up to this. Don't be like, well, Chuck said I can go for this long, so I'm gonna. No. Do not try and set a timer. Try and listen to your body.
Oh, that's good.
Because the timer does not give a shit.
Nope. That's true.
And it'll just keep going. It'll keep going no matter how you feel, it'll keep going. So in that type of, like 50, 55 degrees, me and a lot of my clients who do this a lot, 15 minutes is a normal amount of cold exposure. But if you think about that, that's just ocean water.
Yeah, which is why I go to Hawaii when I want to swim in the ocean.
That's fair. That's fair.
The ocean here is 55 degrees. What are you getting in there for?
Yeah,
I did as a kid. I was fine when I was little, but yeah.
And, 2 to 3 minutes at most for the colder temperatures. Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone by Bill Withers. Perfect song. Go in, listen to the song, get out when the song's done. Pick a song that you like that's 2 or 3 minutes. Listen to the song. Sing along. My favorite thing Wim coaches people to do is to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Just get in and start singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And I didn't realize that was his way to teach people to surrender.
Oh, that's great.
Because when you're just and people were like screaming it, but they're not clenching their fists. Their teeth aren't together because they're singing. He'd say, open your hands and put them on your body. You can't clench your fists when your hands are open and on your body. You can't clench your teeth when you're singing. It's a really good way to get people to surrender to that moment because you're doing something silly. And of course, he'd be there on a megaphone singing it with them, which is an experience.
I don't think people would want to hear me singing any song in the ice bath.
Well, when you're there, it doesn't really matter because you're all singing.
You're all there.
And
you're all doing it.
How amazing would it be if when we were little, if people were like, you know what, unclench your hands. I see you're upset. Unclench your hands. Unclench your jaw. Take this nice, slow, deep breath with me. Let it out. Make some noise. There you go. And just recently, and I mean like within 2 weeks, I've had my whole breathwork world shattered in one of the best ways ever. I'm working with a gentleman named Dave Geiselman, and he goes, did you know that the heart sends 60 times more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart?
Wow.
What? Say it again, please. And he goes, the heart sends 60 times more information to the brain than the brain sends the heart. The gut, the stomach, large and small intestines send more information to the brain than they receive. Wait. The heart and your digestive tract send more than they get, which means it does not matter what cognitive psychological tools I'm employing. If I'm not taking care of my physiology, it's sending mixed signals. Oh, crap. And in between the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, the only thing that is in our control is our respiratory rate. How fast we breathe. We slow our breath down. We lengthen our exhale by 1.5 times. That's a parasympathetic leaning breath. That can slow the heart rate down. And if you're breathing biomechanically correctly, which is a lateral expansion of the lower ribs, a lateral expansion of the upper ribs, eyes parallel with the ground, neck relaxed, tongue to the roof of the mouth. It seems like a lot, and it is. Your heart rate drops. Your diaphragm descends and massages your stomach, large and small intestine with each breath and aids in digestion. If you're breathing in through your mouth and taking that shallow breath, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, and you're not massaging your digestive tract. You're sending vastly mixed signals to whatever you're thinking. Unless you're thinking stress and anxiety, and then, man, you've got it. But by checking your posture, because you cannot take a proper breath without proper posture, you inform your body posturally that you're safe. By slowing my breath down biomechanically and lengthening my exhale, my breath is telling my body I am safe. Now my heart rate slows down and it starts sending signals to my brain, we're okay. I'm not eating quickly. My stomach is digesting food correctly. Your teeth, the nerve endings in your teeth go straight to your brain. There is no filter. So if you have cavities or bad oral health, it's being drunk by the nerves in your mouth and going straight to your brain. Like, yeah, brain fog. So by, nasal breathing, you're improving your mouth biome. By biomechanically correct breathing, you're improving your gut biome and digestion, lowering your heart rate and blood pressure. And that, I don't need you to believe me for this to be true, just like I don't need you to believe me that a light switch will turn on the lights if you paid the power bill. I don't need you to know how it works. You flip the switch, light comes on. Stand in proper posture, breathe correctly, your body will respond this way. Simple, not easy.
Not easy. Simple, not easy. And that makes sense to me because I've had some very painful dental things before. So it sure seems like it's connected straight to the brain. There's not much,
You can't escape
no
it.
distance there for the nerves. It's right there. Yeah.
And for those of you who want to question anything I'm saying, look it up. Please look it up. I do my best to be as scientifically accurate as possible. I'm not trying to help you reach transcendence. I'm just trying to help you get through today.
And it's really interesting too. Since you started Wim Hof Method, since you became a coach, how much have you seen it grow?
Oh man, in 2016, when I first started, no one knew who he was. Now everybody knows who Wim is.
Right.
And
yeah,
I'm not just a Wim Hof Method coach. I'm an Oxygen Advantage Master Instructor. I know Buteyko, XPT certified, which is Laird Hamilton's protocol. It's a lot of fun. And as I said, hyperfixation. So the yoga and pranayamic, the Taoist and Buddhist ways to breathe, some of the tribal methods that allow you to hit different states and affect your body certain ways. But all of that is fluff compared to the foundation.
Right. I was just asking because I think, for one, I think it's great that this is becoming more in the mainstream. But I know that in the 50s, Russia was putting their athletes in ice baths. It's not really a new thing. It's being
thousands of years old,
put out there. Yeah. It's something that we seem to be discovering more and more. And it's so awesome that you've done so much different training. Check out all these different techniques. Do you find a thread through them all?
Most of the time, people will say, well, you're not supposed to mouth breathe. That's not entirely true. In and out through the nose is about 0 to 95% of human output. The fact that we can nasal breathe and regulate our breathing is why we can chase down animals. It's why we're great hunters. In nose, out mouth is 0 to or 95 to 99% of athletic output. But if you want full 100% human potential, that's mouth breathing. That does come at the cost of endurance. It's like you just burn the fuel that much faster. Your endurance is going to go through the floor. But if you've been chasing something down for 10 or 15 miles, and now it's finally tired out, you can sprint to catch it. And then you're done. You can eat and have fun. But the through line through all of it that I've been able to ascertain is it's not so much to feel better with the emphasis on better. It's to feel better with the emphasis on feel. To have that conversation with your body. To have that conversation and see what happens today. To not try and shift it, to not try and change it, but to just be open to the experience and see what happens. Some of them can hit transcendental states in 5 or 10 minutes. Others, it takes 2 or 3 hours. And it's called breath work because it's simple, not easy. Some of it's really work, like Bastrika. Bastrika is gnarly. That's there's 2 types. You can do nasal Bastrika, where you bring your arms up as you inhale, bring your arms down when you exhale, and it's very aggressive. You can breathe in through your mouth where you're pushing your stomach out, and as you exhale, you're whipping your stomach back. There are breathwork protocols that ask you to do that for 45 minutes straight.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now, that's when you start to go into different states if you did that, right?
Absolutely.
That's going to put you somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that for 45 minutes.
Now, anything can put you somewhere else is the catch. This is why you're not supposed to do breath work while driving, walk anywhere where it's unsafe to pass out. You can go left, right, everywhere in between practicing the Wim Hof Method. I have heard people having transcendental, that word is hard to say today, epic mental experiences with Buteko's Breathe Light. That's one of the gentlest breathwork protocols out there. And it can still send you to outer space. And the issue with that is when someone's practicing breathwork in the first few times, they're coming at it with that beginner's mindset. They're exploring and they go to these amazing places and they want to go there every time.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's
now
what I
they're
was
chasing
thinking.
the dragon.
Yeah.
Right. It's now this thing that brought you joy is just bringing frustration. If you chase it, that ain't gonna happen. You can set an intention, but if you're like, I have to feel this way, anything that's not that is a failure. That sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to work that way.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But, and please, when I say breath work, I don't mean a 15 or 20-minute session. Yeah, that is breath work. But if you consciously focus on one breath, congratulations, you've just done breath work. And if you're saying, well, I don't have the time for this, maybe not as respectfully as I should say, but that's fucking a lie. When I hear people say, I don't have time for this, what I hear inside my head is I refuse to make time for this.
Which is the reality of it. That's true. Yeah. There's a great mind-body practitioner, I guess you would call him, Pain for You, who does a daily YouTube thing it's about chronic pain. And it's all about realizing that if it's chronic pain, it's probably a mindset problem. But it's the same thing. Before every single day before he starts, he just does one breath and just what he calls a mini meditation, and it really makes a difference. It really does.
I mean, if your one breath is Huberman didn't invent this, but he's popularized it. The intentional sigh. It's a double inhale, and you make some noise as you exhale. Do that a couple times. It's a great pump the brakes on your nervous system. Now, that's not going to stop whatever stimulated you to need that break.
Right.
But it helps put you in a good state to maybe take 2 steps back. Check your posture. Slow your breath down. Because I can't control anybody else. And for those out there who are like, just control your mind. Okay, no. I can't do that. I wish I could. I'm trying. No. And someone said, well, you're not going to be able to do that with that attitude. I was like, okay, you're pretty good at this, right? Yeah. Don't eat for 48 hours. And then come back and we'll talk. And he's like, I got a little bit of a short fuse today. No, just use your mind. No, I'm just really hungry. Use your mind. I can't. Because those things send more signals to their brain than they receive. And when we're hungry, a different part of us gets activated. So maybe we can control our mind, but I'm going to focus on my physiology. That's within my grasp. My mind, meh.
I think that's really good advice. Yeah, control your mind is different than maybe observe. Observe what's going on.
Great.
Back off.
And it's different than mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, as someone with ADHD and concussions, they'd say, I want you to be mindful of how you're feeling. I feel like I'd like to punch you in the mouth now. Well, sit with that. Okay, I still want to punch you in the fucking face now. Now what? I'm really angry, I'm upset, and I'm hurting. Okay, I noticed all of those things. Now what? And there was never a good answer for me to now what. And now that I can observe it and be mindful, now what is slow breath down, check posture, reinforce physiology to make sure I'm in as advantageous of a spot as I can be, sit with those feelings, breathe nice and slow, and begin to let them go. Because I got caught up, my ice bath is mindfulness. Because I'm sitting with these things now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sit with any of them.
You're answering your own question, right? And yeah. And you don't have to sit with it. You can just let it go. And also, a really good technique is to go, who is observing this? Who's pissed off? Who's pissed off? Who wants to punch the guy in the face? Who is that? Because somebody is noticing this.
Yeah.
Who's noticing it?
One of the best pieces, and it works for me, is I name them. Like that voice of anger and doubt, that's Charlie. One, because I hate that nickname. And when I hear that, you're not going to do well. And that voice talked to me before I saw you today. I'm going to go on a podcast. You're an imposter. Oh, Charlie. All right. Oh. What do you got to say, Charlie? And this is ACT. Acceptance and commitment training, acceptance and commitment therapy if you're doing it with a therapist. With me, you train. And okay, Charlie, now that you're this big, you're about 2 inches tall right now. You just walked up to me. What do you have to say? His voice is quiet. He doesn't have a lot of influence. You're going to fail. They're all going to think you're an imposter, and you should avoid going on the show today. Why, thank you, Charlie. Of course, you're going to say something like that. I'm not going to listen to you today, but thank you for your point of view. Anyone else have a different perspective? And there are other perspectives. But if I was to try and avoid that and be like, not right now, I have to go talk to Joel. And I'm trying to keep that at arm's length. I'm really just funneling that thought energy. And then by the end of this podcast, I'm mentally and physically exhausted because I've been feeding Charlie. Now he's 8 feet tall and he's going to crush me. And if I shine the full light of my awareness, and this is Dr. Stephen Hayes, counterintuitively found out that if you focus and give your awareness to your pain, it brings down how much you're perceiving instead of trying to avoid it. And with acceptance commitment therapy, I just pay attention. I shine the full light of my awareness on it when I can, give it the time, and I'm like, right. Thank you for that illuminating point of view, which I wish would change someday because you always say the same stuff.
but that's a great way to frame it. Is like, okay, thanks for saying that, and I'm going to go ahead and move on now. I think talking through it like that is really healthy. I need to think about that more often because I, of course, have the same thoughts before I come on a podcast with anyone, and
you hit a special word.
It's great for you saying that because you're so good at speaking, being honest, being open. So to hear that you're nervous about it is helpful in some way.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite things that I ever learned as an actor, I feel like I have imposter syndrome. Duh.
Yeah. Well, aren't you?
What do you mean, duh? You're an imposter. You are an actor. You are going up there and pretending. Oh. That's normal. You shouldn't feel that everywhere, but when you go out on stage and you're wearing someone else's pants, you are playing pretend. You are an imposter. That's okay. Oh, shit. You're totally right.
That is great. How could you not feel like you're being an imposter? You, in fact,
are an imposter.
If you're not being an imposter, you're not doing the job.
Right. That's just you saying some stuff. You're supposed to be.
I think Samuel L. Jackson is the only one I've ever heard that says he never gets that. But about every other actor, has said that at some point. He just has a, different point of view.
And I'm fortunate enough to have a really great community to work around. And the magic word you said
Yeah.
is talking it out. And people are like, oh, it's weird to talk to yourself. Actually, it's not. All of these weird, negative or positive thoughts, we'll just call them thoughts, because whether they're negative or positive is really up to your subjective perspective, in your head make perfect sense. You don't have a filter, but you say those words out loud or write them down and then read them back and be like, that is bonkers. That does, like, what? So for all these anxiety loops and things that people just letting their brain spin, write what your brain is spinning on and then be like, oh, because a dream makes sense until you start telling your friends about it.
Yeah, that's true.
These thoughts make sense until you really give them a voice. And then suddenly you're like, oh, well, yeah, that doesn't work right now. I've put in the time, I put in the energy, and it's normal that I feel like an imposter. Now I'm going to go out anyway, because at least, maybe I'll help someone. And then maybe if I am an imposter, someone will call me out on it and I'll have a lively debate. And then maybe I'll learn something. So even if what you say is true, I still might have fun.
Well, and the idea of writing it down is so great because what if you write down all these crazy ideas and you realize you have a Stephen King novel?
Yeah.
You could have something there.
I like that.
I think
I really like that. Damn it, Joel, that's fantastic.
I think that's how he writes a lot of his books.
Maybe. But that's another beautiful point you made, is who's observing and who's angry. You're not your thoughts. You're not your feelings. So what are they? And one of my favorite clients, she works for an industrial company up in Canada. When it's an emotion or whatever, this is just a sensation you are experiencing. And with all experiences, this is temporary. Oh. That's not you. Okay. You being pissed off is just a sensation or emotion you're experiencing. That's not you. It will end. Or you'll focus on it and it will end longer from now.
That's true. That is I've always thought that's a really good way. I need to do that more often to this is temporary. It also helps sometimes, not always, but it helps sometimes with pain where this is temporary. It must help. I mean, with ice baths, it's got to be a help. A cold,
it is.
Because if you
Absolutely.
go out in the cold, you're going to go back in. It gets very cold here. And it's like, yeah, this is miserable, but I'm going to go back in and it's going to be warm and dry. So it's not the end of the world.
Your cold in Eugene is actually more dangerous than someone's cold in Colorado with the snow.
I agree.
The fog, you lose body heat 25 times faster in water than you do air. So if it's drizzly or wet and foggy, and you're walking around and your skin's getting wet, you are now venting body heat at 25 times faster than you would be if I was. That's why you see when like Wim's expeditions are hiking, it's not raining. It might be snowing a little bit.
It's sunny sometimes.
It's sunny.
It's sunny.
It's just cold and they're having fun. But if it starts to drizzle or rain, everybody puts their clothes on right away. Well, you generally don't see pictures of us doing that. Because media.
We get people moving here from Colorado all the time. Colorado, sometimes Alaska, and they're like, "How is it so cold here?"
Yeah,
it's 42 degrees. How is it so cold? Yeah,
I've had clients get hypothermia more often in San Francisco and Portland than in these places with snow, because of I decided to do cold exposure and I walked around in the fog. I made it 10 minutes before I started shivering. Yeah, water's brutal. Don't do that. Which is why you're only supposed to spend a couple minutes in an ice bath, because you're venting that body heat. You get out, you dry off. But when it comes to pain, the nervous system can only experience so much. And if it's an internal process, like it's an internal chronic pain, try putting your hands in a bucket of cold water or grabbing an ice cube. And if you've been practicing that slow breath in 4, out 6, because it's affecting your hands, which are a very important part of your body, your nervous system puts a lot of importance on the health and functionality of your fingers and hands. By holding a couple ice cubes or putting your hands in just a bucket of cold water, if that's the only difference your nervous system is experiencing, you will acutely feel that discomfort. Focus on the discomfort in your hands. Slow your breath down, relax your shoulders, stand tall, and you'll notice the pain elsewhere in your body starts to drop because you're not giving it so much focus. And I mean, I'd like to say that my chronic pain is gone, but it's gone from a 7 to a solid 2. And I'll take that shift.
Oh yeah, that's about where I am. I completely understand. Mine was a 7 plus for a year, like it's not sleeping. If I can sleep, I'm happy. And I was at a place where I couldn't sleep for a long time. I was already on the road to recovery, but then I always forget the name of the book, but there's a book that came out recently that got sold really well. And it talked about new research where the chronic pain is in a whole different part of your brain. It's an entirely, so all the things you're talking about are going to help with chronic pain because you're changing what your brain is doing. And the fact, when I first read the book, my pain went away. Like it literally, I was like, you're kidding me. And it literally was gone. It came back, but when it came back, I had to discover more about it. But it was just really an eye opener to say, so when it becomes chronic, it's no longer saying, hey, you've got a broken arm, this is an emergency. It's gone to a whole different part of the brain that is about fear, basically. It's creating this response that is not necessary. It's like coming up with stuff that isn't, it's like an illusion, but it's a very powerful illusion. And it's hard to just say, hey, you don't have to be in pain, but that's actually what works. Slowly.
Slowly.
It's not. It was immediate at first, but then it does work with practice. It's another talking to yourself kind of a thing. Hey,
so
there's no emergency here. My back is actually okay. If I go get it x-rayed, they're not going to see anything, and it's going to cost me a lot of money. And so settle down. Relax. I'll grab some ice next time.
So I was fortunate enough to be working on Wim Hof Method retreats for multiple years. And there was a gentleman there. His name is Dominic, and I don't have his last name. I'm actually looking for it right now. And what Dominic said that changed my perspective is pain is not a choice. Suffering from it is.
Oh, that's very good.
And he goes, yes, it has everything to do with mindset. Yes, it sits there, but if the pain is from 2 compressed discs in your spine, no amount of mindset is going to make your discs uncompress. I mean, that'd be freaking awesome if it did. Please, whatever mental framework that is, I will do it. Let's do it. I mean, I do Tai Chi, I move, I do everything I can to support myself. But if I'm in pain, pain wants to make us small.
Yeah.
It wants us to clench our teeth. It wants us to clench our fists because now it has a more fertile ground to stick in. And what I suggest is open your hands like you're in an ice bath. Sit tall, place your hands on your thighs and push them long. Like you're trying to make your legs longer. And ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, relax the jaw. Take a nice slow breath in and just hum on the exhale. Nice and long, nice and slow. Now, the pain may not be a choice, but I'm not going to suffer from it.
And that's so interesting because my whole body vibrates when I try that. You feel the whole body vibrate. The other crazy thing about back pain, which many Americans suffer, and worldwide, not quite as much. But almost everyone my age, which I think is about 20 years older than you, almost everyone my age has a bulging disc or degenerative discs. Something like 60% of the people have back pain.
Yeah.
The other 40% that could show a very similar X-ray don't. It's really nuts. It's really nuts. And it's the same with, some people have a ridiculously high pain threshold, which obviously part of, I think, the cold therapy is training that to be higher. It's training that pain threshold a little bit because cold is, it's not the same kind of pain, but it's a type of pain. So it's interesting. The science of the brain is mind-boggling.
I think the correct word, and I might mispronounce it, is like a hormetic stress, a healthy stressor, whereas anything that has chronic in front of it, not necessarily healthy. Like chronic stress, that's not good. A hermetic, not hermetic, that's Hermes, hormetic. Hermetic? I don't know. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllables all the time.
Okay.
So it's a stress that's healthy and allows you to become more resilient. So stepping into the ice is a healthy stress. Stepping into the Wim Hof Method breathwork helps you normalize your cortisol. So you have this pain, you have a high cortisol level, you practice the Wim Hof Method, it helps normalize your cortisol levels, and then you go to biomechanical breathing all day long. In and out through the nose, nice big deep breaths. And for those people with back pain, instead of getting this vertical rise here in the sternum, which doesn't help in digestion, does not help in back pain, you get this lateral rise or lateral opening of the sternum, where the sternum comes forward, the ribs open, the lungs inflate, the diaphragm descends. You're actually supporting your spine. You're massaging your spine with every breath instead of aggravating your spine with every breath. And it's those little types of tools that bring the 7 down to a 2. Now, if I stop using these tools, that 7 comes back with a vengeance.
Right.
I have about a week.
Yeah.
And so for all of you out there who are like, breath work will fix everything. It is not an instead of practice. You do not do breath work instead of other things, because no matter how many times I take an ice bath or breathe, I'm a type 1 diabetic. Gotta still keep taking my medicine. But if I do this in addition to everything else I'm doing, I have to take less medicine. I'm in less pain. I have less brain fog. I like that.
And that is awesome. I mean, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. Yeah. I had unexplainable vertigo, like 7 years ago now. And after I did a bunch of testing. I even asked for an MRI because a friend of ours had a brain tumor and said, get an MRI. Don't listen to them. Nothing. They have no idea. But for months I was like, I wasn't driving. I was having a really hard time doing everything. So I had brain fog I don't really think it's gone away. I still feel like I have brain fog. And now I wonder, is it because of my age or do I still kind of have a residual of that? So anything, I don't know what I'm getting at here. Anything I can do to lessen that is always helpful. And the
You've been to a soft shell hyperbaric chamber yet?
I have not.
One of the best tools, Dr. Scott Scher, who was one of the people who helped me recover from my concussion in 2018. If you're a type 1 diabetic and you have a diabetic ulcers, the hard shell hyperbaric chambers are what you need to go into. Those are the things that help people recover from the bends. But if it's like brain fog or concussion, the soft shell ones work just fine, well, for me at least. And you don't need you can find gyms have soft shell hyperbaric chambers.
Oh, wow.
And
so that's the one that's like plastic on the outside? Yeah.
And it clearly, anytime I'm having brain fog, I just go sit in a hyperbaric chamber and it's gone for like months.
Wow. I've got to try that.
After the concussion, that was what was the first true step to healing, is to get rid of the brain fog, because I couldn't make correct cognitive choices. So I sat in this hyperbaric chamber and I came out and was like, why aren't more people doing this? I feel amazing. I feel like I did before the accident. Because it's temporary. It's temporary.
Oh no.
Unless you work your CO2 threshold, bring down your natural respirations per minute. Because everyone out there, even if you nasal breathe, okay, awesome. Even if you use a biomechanical breath in proper posture, not improper posture, fantastic. The third and perhaps least talked about, but in my opinion, equally as important, is where is your CO2 threshold? Your surplus or lack of oxygen is not what tells your body it's time to breathe. It's your relationship with CO2. If you have been suboptimally breathing for years, your CO2 threshold is probably much lower than it should be. So your body is getting the signal to breathe more often, which is causing vasoconstriction, less optimal oxygenation of the fine tissues, which includes the brain. So practicing like free diving, CO2 tables, practicing Buteko's breathe light, and really working your CO2 threshold until your normal respiration rate is down to about, I don't know, aim for 12 breaths a minute.
Wow.
I bet if people were checking now, it'd be 18 to 20. That's too much. That's too fast. More is not better for breathing. More is worse. Right. You want less breaths per minute. I think from Bon Buddhism, which is about 18,000 years old, they say peak human breath is 5.5 to 6 breaths a minute, a breath every 10 seconds.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot slower than most of us breathe.
Most people are taking a breath every 3 seconds. And
that's amazing.
By slowing that down, by holding more CO2 in your body, CO2 is a vasodilator. And by switching to nasal breathing in and out, you're introducing more nitric oxide to your bloodstream. Nitric oxide, antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, and a vasodilator. So those veins and arteries now dilate and open up, so blood can flow more effectively everywhere in the body. Hold a little bit higher CO2, maybe engage the Bohr effect, which usually only happens when we're exercising. When we engage the Bohr effect, because we've got such a high amount of CO2 in our body, the red blood cells carrying hemoglobin more freely disassociate with the oxygen and pick up CO2. So you have a better equivalent exchange. Now say you're doing that, but you've been practicing the Wim Hof Method. 3 to 5 strong breath holds allow the spleen to contract. When the spleen contracts, it allows the bone marrow via EPO production, when the spleen contracts, to produce more red blood cells that are carrying hemoglobin. So you can check your hematocrit before you start a breathwork practice, and it'll be about 41 to 42%. You don't want to go higher than 51%, because then it actually starts to flow less optimally in your veins and arteries. But imagine that's a massive increase to the number of red blood cells delivering oxygen and picking up CO2. So breath work can really optimize your physiology if you give it the chance. It won't happen tomorrow. This is about a 6-month shift we're talking about. But what else you got to do today?
Exactly. Yeah, nothing. Oh, wait, I got to paint a fence.
Are you at least using an air blower, like
I should be. I'm not. I'm considering hiring someone finish it off. Don't ask me. We're a team out there. It's actually gone pretty good so far. Using a roller and brush. Throwing it on there. This is not, painting has never been something I like to do, and staining not either, but it's going okay. It's warm weather, so I want to get it out there. I think I might make more of a mess with an air blower, but I'm considering the one section is by a neighbor who cares. There's a neighbor who's like part of this whole, and there are other neighbors, they don't care. So I'll be able to go faster. It'll be easier. It'll be great. Oh, geez. Now we're talking about my fence. Well, listen, I should probably wrap this up. You know what? Because you're such an interesting person, I want to try this. I did this last time, and the guest really enjoyed it. I have
Ooh.
it's not a lightning round because other people do that. I have just some questions I'd like to throw out in the end. Completely off topic, nothing we've talked about.
Oh. Yeah, let's do it.
Do you like turtles?
I play a lot of Mario Brothers, so I'm gonna have to say not as much as I should. I
That's
do
funny.
turtles a little wrong. I
Uh,
like tortoises.
Tortoises are
Hmm.
amazing, aren't they?
They
I like
are.
turtles from snorkeling in Hawaii, so we always look for the turtles. Um, oh,
Slow breathers.
have you done or thought about doing a podcast of your own?
Yeah, I don't have the discipline to do it.
Ah, okay. It's good. It is easier to go on a guest, isn't it?
Oh, I love it.
It's so much, it's so much easier. And you've been on a lot of them. It's awesome. Do you believe in luck? This is a great question for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And I like how you didn't put good luck. I believe in luck.
Yeah.
Um, some people would say it was bad luck. I got hit by that car in 2018, and I'm not gonna. You can remove bad. That accident gave me a deeper perspective into the workings of the human mind than anything else that I've ever experienced in my life. Pretty fucking fantastic, in my opinion. Hate the fact that I went through it.
Hmm.
That wasn't fun, but I'm lucky to have been able to experience that and come out better for it.
Yeah, that is
So
awesome.
I believe in luck. I also believe in making your own luck. So
Right,
work
right.
work hard, and when you see an opportunity, go for it and fail epically.
I'm,
Or succeed
I'm doing
epically.
that. I'm doing that well in a couple different
I'm
social
right there
media.
with you.
Social media. You use a lot of. Well, you use some social media, good or bad. Good or
Bad.
bad. There you go.
Bad.
Yeah, I think so.
I post a picture on Instagram every week or two, and it cross posts to Facebook, and it says, "Hey, come breathe with me."
Hmm.
If you ever see a post that's not that, that means my assistant, who is way better at this than I am, is like, "We should post this." I'm like, "Please do," because
Oh,
I
that brings me to a question that's not on my list. I think the picture's at least a year old, maybe more. Do you still have the dogs? I always have to ask the dog names for my wife.
Finley is the
Finley.
golden retriever.
Uh-huh.
He's the golden one. Fiona is the white one, and she's an English cream golden. And it's Fiona and Finley. And right now, my daughter is raising a black lab to be a guide dog.
Oh, nice.
We didn't
That's
get to pick his name, but it's
great.
River. So
Uh-huh.
I love dogs. I absolutely, Finley's the best.
We
Sorry,
love all
Fiona.
animals. We did see a black bear in the redwoods, and it took all of our strength not to try to pet it because
That's fair.
it,
They
l-
are, they don't, they're small. They
this
don't look
one, and
dangerous.
this was a juvenile, and we were taking pictures from a distance, and as we're taking pictures, it walked to the car to say we had to eat, and it was really just like, no, don't put your hand out, don't put your.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It
That's
was
fair.
hard.
Good discipline. Good discipline.
You've been on a lot of podcasts. Do you have a favorite podcast that you listen to, or do you even listen to them?
So I, that's the problem with ADHD is I have lots of favorite podcasts that
Me too.
because my brain goes, they're awesome. It doesn't take the next step to listen to them.
Ah.
I love Jim Quick's Quick Brain.
Hmm.
Like his podcast is a lot of fun. It's fast. I love listening to NPR and just seeing who they've got talking about something neat today because I love learning things. Neil deGrasse Tyson's is
Oh,
my
he's awesome. I love his
his
NPR
stuff
and
is
Neil
great.
deGrasse Tyson. They both also sound really good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's easy
And
listening.
easy listening. And there's so many more others out there. But right now, it's Neil deGrasse Tyson is right up on anything that Dr. Ellen Langer appears on.
Hmm.
Anything Esther Perel is talking about. Esther Perel's podcast, Dr. Esther Perel, she's a great relationship therapist. amazing. Her level of communication is great. I love to hear Brene Brown talk. The Huberman podcast has got to be up there. As I said, I can just keep.
That's awesome. That's awesome because there are so many good ones out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep forgetting the name of the pod. I listen. Well, it's a YouTube video series.
Kotaro Waga,
but it's
he's
like
great.
a podcast. I keep forgetting. It's one of the hosts of the. Tested. It's called Tested. Tested is a great. It's kind of.
I'm gonna have to look that up now.
That is Jamie from MythBusters.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that now.
It's really fun. Really fun.
Here's another one.
Did you get any good furniture lately?
I did.
See, I love this question.
I actually did. Our kitchen table is a transformer. It
nice.
has a leaf that folds up underneath it. We can extend it and fit 10 people or close it down to be for 6. And I love entertaining and cooking food. And beyond furniture, I got some really good kitchen knives and some great cookware.
Oh, great. That's always fun.
Yeah.
So what was the last thing you bought online? Any of those things?
Oh, man. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, that's all right.
No,
that's maybe the best answer. I can't tell you.
I may have an issue with online shopping. The last thing I bought online, I will actually look it up and tell you because it could be any number of things. What do we have today? A shoulder pulley sling so that I could do my rehab exercises at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sling it's a shoulder pulley system that fits over the door that allows me to move my arms.
Yep, got that.
And this Monday, I bought a new hard drive and a hard drive copier because mine is in the process of dying and I need to replace it. So, yay!
That's never fun.
No.
You used to work in the bar industry. Have you broken any laws lately?
Yeah.
That's good enough. This is a dumb question for you. I can't imagine. Have you ever wanted to do something else for a living?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. When I was bartending, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't have the confidence to stop the routine. The routine was making me money. The routine was safe. I was doing really well. I had a great friend circle. And even though it was violent, even though it was aggressive, it was known. And I did want to do something else. I just didn't know what. And now the answer is no.
So now you know.
Yes. I want to be a public speaker as well as do breath work. So
well, you would be really good at it.
Schmaybe. I'll give it a solid gold schmaybe.
You would be very good at it.
Thanks.
I've had some people on here that train people to do TEDx talks, but I'm never sure if that's an honest thing. So, do you believe in talent? Different
Absolutely.
Thing than luck.
Yes. I think talent there are natural talents at things. People are naturally good at things. But if you love it and you work at it, you'll find you're more talented than you really gave yourself credit for. And if you suck at the beginning, congratulations and welcome to being human. We all do. It takes work. It takes time. Keep the student's mindset. Keep learning. The worst thing you can ever say is, I know. You just missed what that person might teach you. So, I don't know, comes from probably some of the most talented people I know.
Yeah.
Some of the smartest doctors I know. These guys are like 4 people in the world do what they do. I'm like, hey man, what is this? And they're like, hold on, I'm going to call this guy because I'm sure he'll know. And I'm like, don't you know? And he's like, not enough to give you an answer that's not bullshit. Let me call this guy. So one of the most talented things one can do, and this only happens later in the skill set, is know your limitations and not feel bad about calling someone who you know will give the best answer. That's a talent all in of itself.
I agree. And the keep learning is a talent. I mean, some of the most talented people in the world, I think it's because they well, seemed talented. They had talent. They had
Yes.
talent. Then they worked really hard to get better at whatever it is. Except for those rare people who, at 5 years old, can do some kind of performer or some
Well, and to that end, please stop everyone comparing yourself to that guy.
Right. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I'm always seeing 5-year-old YouTube drummers going, "Oh man, get out of here." Anyway, last question. Do you
Please.
believe in something after this?
You mean like lunch?
Lunch, dinner, something an afterlife, even.
I'm going to give you the answer I got when I was really young. I'm 46 now. I was 18 or 20 when I got this answer. I've been a Taoist for about 30 years now, and when I was in college, I had the fortune of being able to go listen to a Taoist master talk about philosophy. In that class, as with all things, there was the person who was very like, "What happens when we die?" And he kept saying, "I don't know. I'm not dead yet. And the people who are dead don't really tell me anything. I don't know." And he pushed him to a point where he's like, "Fine, I will answer your question. Do you remember what it was like before you were born?" He goes, "No, I think it'll be like that."
Good answer.
And I was like,
very good answer.
I like that answer. I like that answer.
Yeah.
So my answer to that is, I think it's going to be like what it was like before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And since I have no memory of that, I have no fear of heading that direction. And I read a lot of fantasy novels and find more truth in the allegory of fantasy than in the truth of real world books. And like, one of my favorite quotes from that is a well-lived life gets to be lived twice. Once as you're doing it, and once as you're remembering it.
Yes.
And
yeah, that's a really good quote.
I'm for it.
A really good quote.
And to double down on the slippery, just to make you angry Taoist response, I don't know. But I'm not going to live my life to die.
Yeah, that doesn't make me angry. That does make some people angry, but it doesn't make me angry.
Awesome.
I once read where some of the most feared people are atheists, and I was like, "What? Like, why are you? What? Why does that scare you? It never doesn't make sense to me. I have all, yeah."
Well, I mean, most people are like, "Well, what do you believe?" And most atheists don't know, and they're very open. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. And sometimes it's terrifying to admit we don't know. And
maybe
it's easier.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, because I've always thought I was agnostic, where I believe in a God, but maybe not your God. And one place I read that made me an atheist, and I was like, no, that's not true.
Well,
I think an atheist is not believing in anything after this, basically.
Not knowing if there's anything after this.
Not knowing.
That's not necessarily genuine. Most atheists won't give you an answer. Do you believe there's nothing after this?
I was thinking of Neil deGrasse, because he'll tell you, no, there's nothing after this. There's stars and dust, man. Yeah, that is an answer. Yeah.
But, I mean, his answer is still not nothing. Every atom in our body was created within a star exploding. We are literally the children of stars. Yay, Neil deGrasse Tyson for that. So if that's the case, his answer for what do you believe happens afterwards is we go back to being stardust.
Yeah.
Hell, that's not
nothing.
That's not nothing.
You're going to go back to being individual atoms at the very least. It's not like you don't exist. You'll exist in a different form.
Yeah, whatever that form may be.
Whatever that is. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I'm not going to allow the promise of something that happens after I die dictate me doing anything now. I'm just going to be nice now and just stick with that.
And I always like that. That's a beautiful philosophy. It's like, why do you need a reason? You shouldn't need a reason or, a dogma necessarily to care about things, care about other people, and just care. I don't know.
Well, and then people loophole it, or they'll try and like, well, my rules say this, but I can get around it. And it's like, okay, first off, if that God of yours exists the way you believe they exist and they're omnipotent and all-knowing, who the heck do you think you are to loophole that entity? That's not how that's gonna work. You're either following your rules or you're not.
Or you're not. My God has no rules, and that scares people too.
I'm in. Let's go.
It's an experience. Yeah. Hey, listen, I have loved having you on this podcast, Charlie. Not Charlie.
You don't want Charlie on this podcast. He's going to say some shit that'll get us all in trouble. He's right here. I can let him
in. So listen, you've been listening to Were You Still Talking? In my studio today, I've had Chuck McGee III, absolutely amazing. He does all kinds of things. He's been on hundreds of podcasts and named on hundreds more. He does breath work of all different varieties. And we've talked, he's been such a great guest. It's been really proud. You're welcome. Been amazing to have you here. I'm glad you didn't listen to your voice and you came on anyway.
I find I have to do that very often.
Well, as I always say, be good to yourselves. You'll see it in the notes too, but he does free breathing sessions twice a week still on Instagram. Iced Viking Breathwork.
Breathworks. Pluralized.
Iced Viking Breathworks.com. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. So be good to yourself by doing that. And be good to each other.